Welcome to the Fink It Isn't Until It Is podcast. I'm Finn.
I'm Tim.
I'm Guy.
This is season 2, in which we discuss the various moving parts in a life in music.
Chapter 3 of series 2 is entitled Chasing the Demo.
Indeed.
Which,
indeed.
Do you want to describe what we mean by chasing the demo there, Mr. G?
Yeah, I suppose it's also AKA known as demoitis. In Rick Rubin's book, whatever it's called, one with a big circle on the front, he talks of it as in demoitis, and he's actually quite, that book is great if you're a creative musician. He says a lot of things you already know, but it's nice to hear it said by someone else. And demoitis is when you record a demo and you really love it and you listen to it all the time and it becomes the version that you fall in love with. And then when you go into the studio or you try and re-record it or you try and change any element at all to it, you're like, oh no, I prefer it how it was. And that's demoitis. Chasing the demo is the process of trying to re-record that demo that you have potentially demoitis with, to put it down in the studio and have your alpha version. And if you find yourself chasing the demo, it kind of means that you're a bit attached to the demo and you can't quite get whatever vibe you had, whatever thing you had going on, or even relationship that you had with your demo. There's loads of reasons why this happens. Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? The reasons why. Because as we have discovered ourselves, sometimes, I would say that what we've just done, we just recorded an album in October, and I feel like that album suffered very little from demoitis. And I think partly that's down to the fact that we didn't have the demos for very long.
Yeah, well, one way of breaking chasing the demo is to record 8 studio albums over nearly 20 years. That helps, yeah? So it helps for you to see it coming. It helps for you to prescribe solutions.
Yeah.
It helps to have done this many times before. But as we're so familiar, as any musician who's making records is familiar with this chasing the demo and demoitis, you're super aware of it. And in our particular case on this great new Cornish record, it's like the studio versions are not that much of a leap from the demos anyway. So the demos are like, I'm playing the guitar, I'm singing the song, Guy's playing bass and Tim's playing drums. And so we get in the studio, so I'll play the guitar, I'll sing the song, Guy will play bass and Tim will play the drums. We're not going to be like seismically shocked by anything like, oh my God, it's so different, I'm not sure if I like it anymore. Because it's essentially, my acoustic demos, they were pitched as kind of like, it's essentially going to be this, and you guys can just do whatever you want. And if us three are in a room, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
So therefore, we didn't have much demoitis on this one, but this is definitely. I think Resurgam was the one we had the most chasing the demo
probably,
options on.
Yeah, that was partly because Flood, the producer, he was fully of the opinion that there's no such thing as a demo.
In fact, it was one of the banned words, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was one of the swear jar words.
Yeah, swear jar words, along with
Mumford and Son,
single, and I can't remember.
We're not going to explain why they were swear words.
Yeah.
They're definitely not disrespectful to those bands, but it's
And demo. He said there's no such thing as a demo. It's simply the first recording you've made.
Yeah, he said everything's a version.
Yeah, version, exactly. So and that could be quite informative, and at the same time it could be quite infuriating, because there was once or twice Finn had recorded a demo and we would be listening to it, and then he would go in and he'd play it, and we would be thinking, okay, yeah, he's playing a really good version of this, and Flood would be like, no, it hasn't got the magic of the first version, we've got to do it again. And we'd be like, oh Christ, okay. So that's, in a weird way, that's sort of a weird kind of chasing the demo, because he's not necessarily trying to. He's fully aware that that's a really good version. So what then happens sometimes is you try and make that your base, your kind of bedrock, and then you build on top of that.
Well, quite often on other people's records, and occasionally on ours, we've taken the demo and built on top of it.
And that can be quite successful.
Yeah, because we haven't been able to top the vocal performance or the vibe or whatever was going on in that initial joyful moment of demo.
Yeah.
So let's not just chase it, let's just add to the demo.
That's right.
And it's not a demo, it's a version.
So what I've discovered because I've been diving into some old demos of our own.
What have we got?
And the interesting thing about it is that some of the most successful transitions were when the demo wasn't particularly complete.
Okay.
So, for example, if you haven't finished writing the words, or we haven't thought of the correct drum beat yet, or things like that. So I suppose this might be a good time to play the first one that
we have stuff
on
so
here.
Just why are you playing these things? To show how much can change, or
Well, to show how much can change, but also to show the different types of demo kind of behavior. So you have ones that worked, ones that changed for the better in a nice and smooth way, ones where it was a kind of natural journey, and ones that
change for the worst. Have
didn't
you got those?
change. Well, not didn't change. Where we really did try and chase, and unsuccessfully.
Okay, I think I know a couple of these.
Well, I've only unfortunately got one to play of those, but let's start with the ones that worked, perhaps, to sort of.
But is that chasing the demo if it worked? Surely that's just recording the record.
Well,
surely that's just doing demos and then you play them in the studio and it works. It's not really chasing the demo.
No, it's not. It's not chasing the demo at all. But I thought we'd play it as an example of the transition. Just for anyone who's not familiar with
a successful example is a good sort of what do they call it in the lab? Control.
A control.
It's a control.
Okay. Yeah. Control.
So this is called Guy's Amazing Steez.
Of course it is.
Should have called the album that.
Classic.
And this is you'll soon hear what song it is. So that sound made it onto the album.
Yes, it did. That's my Martin and some harmonics on it.
So and it goes on quite a long time. So we actually arrived in the studio with Billy with that sound and gave it to him.
Did we use the demo sound?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Precise sound. Yeah.
Sometimes when that happens, if there's like something that you want to use like that, then obviously that's going to then dictate.
So you're not going to change.
You're not going to change key. You're not going to.
Yeah. So the good thing about this is that the musical elements are all in there and they're all easily replayable. Yeah.
It's really nice. The beat's there.
The beat's there. That was Guy's suggestion. That beat. The little and there's Guy's bass line and Guy's chord progression.
Is there no lyrics yet?
Not yet.
Haven't written the song yet.
It comes, but it's not complete.
Oh my goodness.
So that melody didn't make it onto the finished version at all.
Wow. God, I haven't heard this in.
I know. So it's all good. That's the first thing that did make it onto.
Wow.
So I'm not sure at what point you wrote the song.
We were on tour.
Yeah.
I wrote it on that Ben Howard run. When we were doing the sort of revolution tour.
Right. So there's all sorts of stuff going on here, but so this is quite an early demo then in that case.
Yeah, man, definitely. But you've obviously been down to Brighton to record the bass, and maybe we jammed it together. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. In your because this would have been in your loft.
Yeah.
These drums would have been in there. But I think it's also this is a loop of my drums, which is why that hi-hat thing keeps happening.
What? Is it a bad thing?
No. But this is interesting. It's got the breakdown. So
yeah.
Good example.
Well, there's lots of DNA.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
And then the good thing about it is that we weren't thinking, but Finn sang it so well at demo level because it's not actually
it's just a holding pattern, really, isn't it?
Isn't actually there, yeah.
Just to, something just to keep us grounded. It's good.
Yeah.
I like it,
so
man.
So there's that.
Wow. So, are you going to play what it turned into?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay then.
For those unfamiliar, this is what it became. So now, so far it's remarkably similar. I'm going to skip on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean.
So that doesn't happen till later now.
Perfect memories fall down like ashes.
So the weird thing is that the little hi-hat thing is still in.
We made love.
So he must have imported that.
You played it?
That is your part.
Okay.
That's what you wrote on your drums.
Interesting.
See the black keys around.
Okay, so and then you have the breakdown.
The compass points out in all directions.
Oh, and the strings.
Strings, yeah.
They were great.
Is that the fella from Grass Cup, our friend from Grass Cup?
Matt Kelly, this was.
Matt Kelly.
Yeah. So there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty smooth. I mean,
yeah, definitely. With there's so much DNA in that demo: drum beat, bass line, an element of the chorus. I do remember writing this on the road when we were touring the sort of Revolution tour, or at least around that 2010 time.
Yeah, because we were already demoing in 2010. Because we turn down some gigs over that summer because we wanted to kind of crack on writing.
I was very inspired by touring with Ben. It was amazing. His gigs were great. He had so much energy at that point, and so okay, you can see that the demo is a vibe.
Yeah,
and then it needed a song.
Yes,
and then
and this next one is the opposite.
Oh,
okay. This next one, we've got the song, but we needed the vibe.
Okay,
so. The demo was presented to us, I think, a string person to put some strings on, and when we got the results, we were like, not sure, so we kind of abandoned it.
Okay,
but the song remains. So as you'll hear,
hewn into living rock. There we go, Pilgrim.
And what I love about this is you can hear you lighting a cigarette. There we go.
Is this at Blair's then?
Bits and bobs. The original things at Blair. And then you put new vocals on top.
That's right. I sung over the top.
Come a long way, not to work it out.
So the song is all there. You've written the song completely. But it's slower than what it became.
Wow, it's so interesting to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I did with this one was that this is a 3-part, because the original demo is me just singing shapes and sounds.
Right. Yeah.
With Blair going
which
around
you can
the
hear in the background. If you listen. Yeah.
But they were so intuitive that when I wrote the song into the sounds. It just all fitted. So all the melodies and all of that, that's like first time I sung it at Blair's place, and then I wrote into it moment by moment.
Yeah.
So that I could even sing it over the top of the original oohs and ahs, and yeah, it was crazy.
And it's pretty kind of faithful to the original. I mean, every little vocal that comes out, you've written on. So anyway, like I said, we tried to go somewhere with this.
Tricky, yeah. Where'd you go? Because this demo is a dum 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 dum, 4 to the floor, finger picked.
Yeah.
Guy would be doing like do 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 or do do do. It's pretty route A, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we've even got this bit, which is actually, this bit is quite similar to what transpired.
Well, apart from the Arabic.
Blair's little, yeah. We didn't instruct Ruben to do that, did we?
Bless him. Blair's amazing. It's our secret weapon, bro. Secret weapon.
So yeah, and it kind of carries on like this. So should we listen to what it became?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened was that we went into the studio. I remember the day we were thinking, we've got this song. We know we've got the song. But we need to kind of just we need to kind of rip it a new one.
Did we go into the studio with just that as a demo?
Just that.
So we hadn't done any beats?
We'd got some strings on it, but they weren't very inspiring. We listened to them when we got to LA because you'd just been sent them, I think.
Right.
And we had a listen and we were all a bit like, nah, I don't know. Don't know whether this is the right
maybe
right
we
way
were
to
chasing
go.
that perfect darkness because this is a Hard Believer track. So
Yes.
maybe we were chasing that perfect darkness moment.
I think that's right. Yeah. So then we did this. And I'm going to skip on because otherwise we're going to be here all day. So this is faster, I think, and it's more of a rock song, I suppose, but it still hasn't got drums. We kept the drums until much later, but the song's identical.
Yeah, and I'm doing a strum pattern instead of a pick pattern, and it's the same strum pattern as Looking Too Closely. So I was obviously in a mode at that point.
Yeah.
Come a long way, come a long way.
Even those BBs were done by Blair.
Right.
Like it sounds like a Blair backing vocal line.
Work it out.
It's so grand.
It's cold.
So do you want to flip us on to the drums?
Yeah. So
From small beginnings.
this we actually came up with in the studio, and what it is it's the chord progression, but just slowed down, right?
Yeah, half the time, and also on your drums, it sounds like you're already like, to the uninitiated, you think, oh, that drum was kind of going for it already, but you're actually totally restrained.
I'm at 70%.
Exactly. It was a very good decision. I think.
Yeah.
Slowly eke out
So
the.
You should stop the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember that for sure because it needed an ending. That's another thing about chasing the demo, is that you often think when you're doing the demo, we'll sort the intro out later. We'll sort, and then in the ending we'll like do something. We'll go big, and then we'll fade it out. And you don't do that. You just we'll do that when we get there. But when you get there, it's like Wednesday, and you've got to do all your guitars, all your vocals, all your BVs, fix the song, we're doing the bridge, make all these decisions, and then at the end of the day, before you can put down your alpha take, you got to fix the ending because you haven't fixed it yet.
Right.
And so a lot of the chasing the demo. A lot of the problems with demoitis is that with demos they have it with if you believe in demos rather than versions, but with demos you have this potential that exists within it, and that's also something that you're a bit addicted to.
Right.
Oh wow, this is going to sound so amazing when we ... Oh, we're going to put this massive ending on it, and it's going to sound so incredible, and then you get there and you do it, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
But before you do it, your imagination is, oh, wow, it's going to be so amazing. This demo is incredible.
Yeah.
Because the demo also has all these kind of dreams and hopes and aspirations kind of baked into it.
Yes.
And when you actually get down to it, this is what it really sounds like when you go big at the end. And in the case of Pilgrim, yay. In the case of lots of other tracks we've done,
not so
sounds
much.
all right.
Yeah.
Not so much. And so a lot of your trading, a lot of the potential of what you think's going to happen is also in these demos, and it's like that reality.
Yeah.
Of, I really want to wear those trousers. I'm going to look amazing, and then you put the trousers on and you don't.
Yeah.
And it's like a real disconnect between, oh, it's going to be amazing when I wear these trousers, and maybe not. So chasing the demo, a lot of that relationship is all intertwined with your hopes and your dreams for the demo as well. It's not just the physicalities of A to B and then B to C. It's actually also kind of like, this track will be something really amazing, but then sometimes you put it down and it's the song that's the problem. You might have thought that it was going to be amazing, but it's just not a very good song. Or
I'm just wondering whether that's happened.
Well, I was going to say, I think that has happened, but in a slightly different way. In that, I sometimes find myself involved in, and sometimes I think we fall into the trap of, we're convinced there's a song where there might not be one.
Okay.
And we're on demo. We've started off, and at demo 3, it was something promising and nice, and then we kept going, and we keep on chiseling away, and we get more frustrated with it, scrapping more and more elements of it, until you end up on demo version 27, and you're now so lost from where you started that actually the wise thing would be to just walk away.
I mean, Rick Rubin says that in his book as well. about demoitis,
Yeah.
he does talk about there needs to come a point where you've wandered so far off the path that you're lost.
Yeah.
And you need to just find the path.
Exactly.
And often that's going. But it's the process, isn't it? Many times we've gone on this wander to come back to where we were. And actually that whole those 26 versions have just given us the confidence to go, no, your first idea was a good one.
And also in there, in those disappointments and failures is information for you. You are finding out what isn't working as well as what is, and sometimes the reasons why they are and they aren't. And then you can use that to actually end up with a better, better response at the end.
That's quite a Flood thing, isn't it? I think that's one. I mean, Flood is a weird one because I feel like I've learnt more from Flood than any other producer we've worked with.
Well, yeah, because you go in Flood. For those who don't know who Flood is, he's like he's a legend in the production game, and he's also a very special, unique character. And so he works with bands that want character in their mixes. So he's Nick Cave and PJ Harvey and Depeche Mode and U2 and Fink, of course, obviously same breath as all those bands. So you don't hire Flood because you want him to just press record. You hire Flood for the whole. What do you think?
Yeah. And he likes to mess it up as well.
Yeah, he's definitely not afraid to subvert everything you think is solid.
And we had that with Not Everything Was Better in the Past, which was a nice, guitar-led ballad-ish kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
And you played it, and I remember distinctly, he listened to you playing it, and he went, right, it's good. I want to fuck it up. So we then went on a process, as you just described, Guy, of trying to change it completely from the demo. And we did a different time signature. We made it into this big kind of rocky version, which I'd love to hear.
I'd love to hear.
I haven't got that. I looked and looked and looked, but I couldn't find it. And in the end, we ended up coming back to the original. In fact, we used the acoustic version as the bass.
I mean, that Resurgam album is a really difficult one for me to, remember, but also to know how I was feeling during that process, because I can't really remember. And
it was complicated.
It was really complicated, and the chasing the demo and the demoitis and the relationship with material on that one. It was we had too long in the studio, but we overcooked a lot of stuff. We broke down a lot of songs and rebuilt them, and in that process, maybe lost something in most of the songs we recorded for that album. There's a couple of exceptions, I think.
I think the demo process was too long as well.
Yeah,
because we started demoing in June 2016 and we recorded in May 2017.
Yeah,
and that was anyway. But I've got something to play from that
awesome.
era, which isn't. I mean, it's not.
Have you got the Resurgam demo?
No, I've got this.
Yeah.
I've got this.
No matter how you feel right now,
it's a great demo, this one.
This isn't a mistake.
So the thing is with Flood is he doesn't like rhythm guitar.
What you feel.
So his first instinct is to take away the rhythm guitar.
True that.
Yeah. So this is Finn's demo. Well, our demo. This is quite a complete one, I think.
No, this isn't a mistake.
So the song itself is...
I always forget. I forget that This Isn't a Mistake is on Resurgam. This is one of my favourite songs.
The future isn't either. Now isn't.
So the way we're playing it now is quite classic sort of Fink style.
Where you go, how you
There's an awesome video of this on YouTube.
Is that?
Live from Q Factory. Yeah, Tommy and Lance made. It's absolutely brilliant.
So, should we hear what it became?
Yeah. Wow, great, love that.
That break your heart, your head, step babe. This isn't a mistake.
So the beginning of the Resurgam version is very meta.
Singing and playing at the same time might be really tough. Minimal. I might,
You can hear Flood in the background.
because I want to get this vibe. It's great.
Yeah.
So I might do a vocal take with super minimal minimal.
in the moment
Sounding
and
great,
then
guys. Do a
really.
separate guitar solo together.
Sounding killer.
Don't worry, I can focus on it. But I'll do a minimal.
No matter how you feel right now,
So rhythm guitar has been extracted.
this isn't a mistake.
It's faster.
Yeah.
No matter how you feel, staring
That's just
out
bass,
the
right?
window wide awake, eyes wide open. This isn't a mistake. No, no,
I mean, it's actually pretty awesome.
this isn't a mistake. The past isn't, the future isn't either. Now isn't a mistake.
Oh, he got his mate in to do saxophone.
Martin
That
Slattery.
was great. Yeah, he kicked us all out. Do you remember? Kicked us out of the control room. That was great. Wow, this sounds absolutely banging, man.
Yeah, it does.
I'm proud of us for this.
But it's very different. Like, there's no rhythm guitar. I don't think you
Where
play
you
guitar on it at all.
go, how you get there.
There's two drummers, me and Nikki.
This isn't a mistake.
Yeah, Flood's a genius, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Nervous.
But that's what-
It's the thing about Flood also that needs to be said is that because he doesn't believe in the concept of demo.
Yeah.
He doesn't have demoitis and he never chases the demo because
Yeah.
in his world neither of those things exist. You know?
Yep.
So he's always like, well, is that version better than that version?
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
decide, you're the band, you know, you tell me.
Yeah.
And
So-
if you say to Flood, oh, I don't know, you're Flood, you tell us. He sometimes he'll just be like, that one.
Yeah.
Other times he'll just be like, oh, you know, whatever.
Yeah, or he'll be like, no, you choose.
Yes,
I want you
your
to
band,
choose.
you're the band.
Yeah. So Flood would have been a useful person to have around when we did this next one that we're going to listen to. So this is, I think, is the classic example of chasing the demo, where you record a demo that you love and everyone loves it, your manager loves it, and you get into the studio and it just sounds wrong. Like, it just doesn't, it sounds really small for one thing. Because the thing is, if you record in your, studio at home kind of thing, everything sounds a little bit like lo-fi and small scale.
Yeah, DIY,
and that's what you like about
charming,
it.
yeah.
But then you go into kind of steakhouse studios in Los Angeles and you play it and you think, fuck, it doesn't, all those charming things about it
Yeah.
don't make sense in
Well,
this
again,
environment.
it's the potential, isn't it? You
Yeah.
think, oh wow, it's so real, and then you go into a fancy studio,
Yeah.
and that realness maybe doesn't
translate.
Yeah.
So here we go. So it's your bass line, Finn's hand clapping and guitar hitting, and then the chord progression. So we tried to do that hand clap thing in Steakhouse and it just sounded wrong. Can't describe it any other way.
This track, I mean,
It was a headache, wasn't it? Getting this one into shape. I mean, the result
you know
was
what?
lovely, but wow.
You know, we'll talk about it after, but
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot the drums used to do that.
Before the end
Yeah.
of summer.
I mean, the song's there.
well, we were kind of in the thrall of the glamour of the scene at that time,
Yeah.
which was what are we now?
So 2010.
2010, there was a lot of metronomy, there was a lot of
Lot of
indie
metronomy.
dance going
Yeah.
on. We were all kind of a bit enamored by it.
That is true.
Indie dance.
Yes, that's right. Indie Dance version 2.0. So, yeah, so we got into the studio, we chased it,
Chase this one hard.
but the song is there. So I think that's what you took comfort from, the fact that the song was there.
Yeah, the BBs and that rise of that beautiful of that chorus.
Yeah.
And it's written in Berlin, about Berlin. So I wanted it to have it having a dance element.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid of.
Oh, fall into your lover's arms after first chorus as opposed to. So that's changed.
Well,
Yeah,
this was
like
called "Fall into Your Lover's Arms." At this point.
Yeah, it was.
So
It was
this was the chorus
Yes.
instead of the bridge.
So do you want to hear what it became?
Are you gonna play the album version?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So much more guitar driven immediately.
But it's So that's me on top line guitar because I was really keen on that. As you can hear, that's all you can bloody hear.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, Billy Bush did such a great job.
Yeah.
Right before the
So this was basically you and Billy going in there and kind of rescuing it because it was this kind of half-hearted indie dance track that we tried.
Yeah,
to...
it was terrifying. This moment, this was utterly terrifying. Last day of recording, seat of your pants saved because we'd chased this demo into the ground and failed. It wasn't going to be an acoustic guitar body beat. It wasn't going to be fucking tricky disco either. And if it wasn't either of those things, and you've got till 9.
Yeah.
And it's the last day in Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And so I clicked into producer mode and clicked out of singer-songwriter. I'm going to play table tennis. You sort it out mode, and clicked into salvage mode.
Yeah.
And I also think that Billy Bush, it was also at the end that we only had 10 days or so, 9 days in Steakhouse. It was been pretty full on, and there wasn't any wiggle room for anything to go wrong. This was the only one that did go wrong. In as much as the demo, in as much as what we recorded we thought was crap.
Yes.
And
well, maybe
I think Billy's normal default would be, well, that's okay, we got another 4 weeks, so we'll just hang out and do it. But I was maybe a bit more used to, actually, we got 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I got in there, I kicked you guys out of the control room to just lessen the noise and opinions, and I'm like, I got the knives out, I got the axe out, and just chopped and slashed and burnt all the beats off. Okay, this is going to be last track or thereabouts, so we can have it just pulsing ambient guitars and the song, and it'll just happen and then go. Yeah. And no fear of no beats, no fear of no anything. Just how do we get from A to B, and then we can go. And this track's really and that's what made it onto the album, that version, which is almost like an outro rather than a fully fledged song. And then what happened, which is really interesting, another level of chasing the demo maybe, is that our alpha version is the one that, if you've seen us live after this record for the next 5 years, would be the encore version of this track we would do, which is a massive 12-minute indie banger. Yeah. Which is very hard to imagine, that goes from acoustic alt dance disco through to kind of ambient beatless outro. But we knew we had a really good song in there. We just weren't doing it justice, and we hadn't nailed it. And live, we worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. We'd never believe it would be a festival set monster when we recorded it. Sure. But the song was so good that there we go. There he is.
Where's this from then?
This is the Wheels version.
On the Wheels version.
So live from
it grew from this. I mean, this is the Wheels version. It got better and better, and bigger and bigger.
It never stopped. I think 10 years from now it'll be even more.
So
we would just add. We would just add. We added a huge outro and. I mean, you know what actually happened? It was the public who loved this track a lot that forced us to put it in the sets, which therefore forced us to work it up into shape. Yeah. And that had the kind of feedback loop of, so the public really liked it even more, so we did it even better, and it just kept going and going and going. And I remember playing it at Lowlands, just absolutely nailing it and being like, why isn't that version on our record? It's such a shame that version doesn't exist.
So I don't even think, as you say, guys, it's not even the kind of...
No, it's not the festival ending.
This is actually quite faithful to the album version.
So little to it. It's very delicate. But it did become a bit of a fan favourite. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely,
From we were like, oh no, to Yeah, like a lot of people come up to me and say that's the one they like the most.
Yeah.
That record even.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it's just interesting because Berlin
Yeah.
Sunrise is a three-stage plot.
Yes.
Demo to failure to it worked live, and sometimes we're chasing the demo. This is the answer. Go and play it live like 50 times, and the answer will present itself.
Yeah.
If the song itself is really, really brilliant, and when you record it, it doesn't, or you think it's really brilliant, and when you record it, it doesn't sound brilliant anymore, but the song is still good. Well, at least the song's not the problem.
Yeah.
You know, if the drums are crap, or the bass is rubbish, or the guitar sounds shit, that's solvable. But if the song isn't very good, that's not solvable.
Yeah.
So, I think sometimes we're chasing the demo. There's parts of your demo that are masking the flaws, and the flaws are revealed in the studio under the spotlight.
Yeah.
And even more so on the stage.
Yes.
When you're playing it and you're going, God, I'm bored stiff. Okay, so are they.
Yes.
At this point.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you record a demo on your iPhone, the compression on the iPhone just mashes everything together, makes it sound great.
Yeah.
And when you take that away, it just sounds crap. And maybe that drum beat that you recorded on your iPhone over the top is masking all the weaknesses of the song because it's got this flavor that's really overpowering, and you pull that away, maybe the song's not very good.
So I guess that's one of the reasons why debut albums are often very good, because the band invariably has played all those songs live multiple times.
Yes, that's the thing. And I think this is why second albums reveal so much.
Yeah.
Because the band haven't had time to think about it. They've just come off tour. They're going straight into the studio because you want to go on tour again.
Yeah.
And the first album is every creative experience you've had from birth to that date, and the second album is what happened last year.
Yeah.
So you get and the second album, you haven't got time to worry about who you are, because you literally got time to wash your clothes,
Sure,
and go to the studio, and then you're out again.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get to third, fourth, fifth, it's
Then you're
a bit more of a
more-
process
yeah.
you're used to. But
I remember hearing that Radiohead, you probably know this, but before they recorded OK Computer, they went on tour with supporting Alanis Morissette in America, and they played a lot of the OK Computer songs. And it was brilliant because they kind of had all these thoughts while they were playing them live, like, oh, the chorus shouldn't go there.
Right.
Yeah, we should do two verses before we, and all of that gubbins.
yeah, which album did we do that with?
Well, Distance and Time, probably.
Distance and Time. We played a lot of Distance and Time when we were
Yeah.
touring Biscuits for Breakfast, because we
we
only had
did.
half an hour, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we needed to fill the hour.
Yeah, so we did all the This Is the Thing and Blueberry Pancakes. We did all before we recorded it.
Yeah,
you
that
know.
was good.
It was really good.
You know, that kind of makes me think we should make a suggestion for Series 3. There's another one there of, you know, where we have that expression of 1 gig is worth 10 rehearsals.
Oh, yeah.
It's
for
that.
sure.
So that should be the title of why is 1 gig worth 10 rehearsals? And for exactly that horrible spotlight of there's loads of people in the room looking at you here, and you suddenly realise, oh, chorus shouldn't be there. And we all think it at once. We have this psychic, like afterwards we come off and we do we used to do little gig dissections. We don't do it quite so much.
That's
But
we don't care
in the old
anymore,
days we used to do
jaded
the
old
gig.
fuckers.
Well, that's because it's perfect now. Obviously we're brilliant. But in the old days we used to get together and we'd do a gig dissection afterwards of exactly that. I didn't like that chorus.
Every
We
night.
should extend that. A lot of extended outro arguments between you and me over the years, bro.
I mean, because in the aftermath of battle,
Yeah.
everything's so fresh,
Yeah.
and you can literally be like, you remember when we did the second chorus in that track, and you'll all be like, yeah, I know, okay, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whereas tomorrow you'd have forgotten that ever happened.
Yeah,
You'd be back to square one.
Yeah.
Yes, and Berlin Sunrise is the perfect example of that. You're absolutely right. I mean, the way it's grown from this, sort of slightly downtrodden process in the studio to a good outro for an album to now it's the closing track for massive festival.
That was for
sets.
years, wasn't it?
Wow,
Definitely.
Yeah, it was
I know.
How did that
for
happen?
years, that
Crazy.
on the road. Good song.
So I've got I just found something funny when I was looking for all this stuff.
Here we go.
Notes
That's
on
all we
listening to
need.
the board mixes of Hard Believer.
Oh, right.
So we've all made our little notes. But
So just for those that are uninitiated, a board mix is when you're in the studio, you've recorded everything, and your producer, if he's nice, just does you a quick mix at the end of the day for you to take home and listen to, back at your Airbnb.
and then you make notes and to see what should be done before you mix it for real. Anyway, this is a song that didn't make it onto the record.
What?
Yeah, I know. And I just thought this was revealing. So I've got all comments individual for all three of us. So Finn Greenall. For me, this is one that just didn't transfer from demo to studio very well, and various other comments. TT, me. Honestly, I just don't think we nailed it. Sorry. I think it is likely to go down as a case of the demo was good as it was ever going to get, and that was pretty good. However, I'm very open to hearing any solutions. All right, and then Guy.
Guys is like, yeah, whatever.
Guys, I disagree with all of you and everyone else. I think it's amazing. I would love Billy to mix it.
Which track was that?
That was the cover of Hooker, the John Lee Hooker
Oh,
song.
I Need You.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Disagree with
I can't
everyone.
imagine that being on the record. But, you know,
know.
as we said in the previous podcast, the reissue episode,
Yeah.
the good thing about the OK Not OK Radiohead reissue is you get a vinyl of all the tracks that didn't make it on the record.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? None of them should have made it on the record.
Right,
I was
yeah,
really
they made the right decisions.
Totally. You hear the record and you go, yeah, and you hear the 4 that didn't make it and you go, yeah, they're good, but
They're not
up to par. And that Johnny Hooker cover,
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't make Perfect Darkness.
I do not. I wish we had recordings of that.
We do.
The demo.
I got that.
Have you got it?
Yeah, I also released it into the dance world under a pseudonym. It's already been used.
Really?
There's I'm ethical, bro. I recycle everything. Quantum Entanglement, first 12-inch had a version of I Need You.
Did it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
but
Are we on it?
That's another story. No, of course not. I'd cut you both out immediately, in every sense.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Anyway, well, that's good. So, chasing the demo.
There we go. I think we've covered it. Shall
I
we
think we
wind,
have.
wind that up?
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I wish we could find. There's a couple more that I really wanted to find.
Which ones did you want to find?
Who Says I really wanted.
Yeah,
to
no,
find.
that because Who Says is on the Perfect Darkness album.
Yeah.
I've got a really strange relationship with this one because the demo was really good and very Fink, but the album version I was never truly satisfied with, even though the song is nice. And I think it's because I've thought about this a lot over the years, and I think it's because it belonged to the previous record.
Right.
So it was written in that style, it was written in that moment with that headspace, and then I'd moved on. And then on Perfect Darkness, it was still there, but it was kind of like, it's almost like a teenage thing, and now I'm an adult. It's almost like it belonged to a different moment in my life, so I wasn't very comfortable with it in Perfect Darkness. That's why I think we didn't go from demo to album version very well.
The other thing with Who Says is that the old thing that we talked about before, we couldn't think of an ending. It didn't have an ending. The original demo didn't have an ending. So we built one. And I mean, I think I was quite instrumental in kind of telling Billy to, just make it really big at the end and have like crashing
well, at least it does something. I mean,
it does something.
Essentially, See It All and Who Says are kind of from the same ilk, but
That's
See It All, we
yeah.
make the leap into indie band territory,
Yeah.
whereas Who Says it's still being dragged back by it being part of the sort of Revolution canon.
Yeah.
That's my tuppence on it.
No, that sounds right. Anyway,
Right, that's that then.
great.
Bye.
See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye.